If you've been laid off or you left your company, before you do anything with your 401k, find out all the ins and outs. Call Phillis today, 623-792-5496. That's 623-792-5496.
Thanks for joining us today on Retire Financially Fit with Phillis. If you want to hear about one of the biggest issues for retirees today, you are in the right place, because today we're going to start off with one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest topics, a possible change in tax policy. What is the Biden administration going to be doing in terms of taxes? How will that impact you in the future? That is our topic today. So glad you're here with us today as we talk with Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. Phillis, happy to sit down with you. Big topic, as I said today, but first let me welcome you back. I hope everything's great with you today. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jen. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I know we want to get into this because we will likely see higher taxes in the future. Most people don't realize they are actually still at a much lower level than they have been in a very long time. Even though we do tend to grumble a little bit about our taxes, they're actually a lot lower than they've been in a long time. So if we start to see a big change here, let's talk about what this could mean for people who are trying to save for retirement, and now all of a sudden we have to worry about taxes down the road.
So, first of all, taxes down the road have been a problem for a long time because most people follow conventional wisdom. They save their money in a pre-tax account, and everybody's been told while you're working, your taxes are going to be higher than when you retire. But since you've had all these years to let that money grow pre-tax, that is becoming more and more a myth. That's to start with. And you're right, taxes are on sale today. Under the Trump tax code, like him or not, he lowered the tax brackets immensely. And the way that it was written, things were going to go back to where they were in 2017, in January 1st of 2026. Mm-hmm. But right. With the new administration, with the House and the Senate being Democratic, and with, of course, the pandemic and all the money that we spent, it is very likely, sooner than later, this sale on taxes is going to go away. And I've got to tell you, I call taxes the redheaded stepchild, because it is so ignored in people's planning. I see people all the time. Well, I'm coming in for a checkup, Phyllis, and because I just want to make sure my ducks are in a row, but I think I'm really good. I've got my investments are doing well, this, that, and the other thing. And come to find out, like most people, they don't know their future tax liability. They've done no tax planning. And right now, taxes are on sale. They're lower than they're ever going to be. And let's think about it. I don't think you'll argue with me with the deficit such as it is, with all the money that we're spending on the stimulus, and more to come. Mm-hmm. And I'm not here to debate whether that it's necessary or not. It's just a reality. But somehow, some way, this deficit, this money is going to get paid back. And that's going to be through taxes. Now, in my opinion, not to be political, but I'm hoping that this administration focuses more on, the obvious, like getting our economy back on track, getting people back to work, addressing the pandemic and things of that nature. Really, really important and on fire right now. And taxes will not get addressed so vehemently this year, meaning this year we have a good opportunity, if we do some planning, more than likely, to take advantage, doing some tax planning, take advantage of these taxes being on sale and things that you can do if you understand your future tax liability. Take advantage of these lower tax rates and look at doing things like Roth conversions, taking your money out of your retirement accounts, paying the tax now while they're on sale, and putting it in a tax-free account, a Roth. That's one strategy that's underutilized, and you should be looking into it. if taxes go up, it's going to cost you a lot more later on. And that's been a primary focus of our practice. We all have the same tools and everything else, but I'll say it. I think one of our cutting edge strategies is helping people focus on taxes, showing them their future liability. And, what it's going to cost them throughout their lifetime in taxes, and then showing them how they can back into doing things. But really aggressive this year is to get a hold of that future tax liability and look to take advantage of these low tax rates. And one way is through Roth conversions. Big deal. Mm-hmm. Big deal.
Right. It is a big deal, and it's important that people understand this is a short window of opportunity to implement some of these strategies. So that's the other thing that we need to think about, Phyllis. I know you aren't big on fear-mongering or anything like that, but the reality is this is a short window of opportunity to do something about it so we don't end up with this tax time bomb once we get to retirement, right?
Yeah, this is absolutely on fire. And let me be really, really clear. Sometimes when I say, hey, you want to do Roth conversions, people are confused. They say, no, Phyllis, I make too much money to put money in a Roth. Well, you can't contribute to a Roth if you're working and you make a certain amount. That's true. You can't. There's ways around it. Little technical, called backdoor Roths, usually a way around it. But what I'm here to tell you is, regardless of how much you make, if you've already put money into a pre-tax account, whether it's a 401k, 403b, or an IRA, you can absolutely take that money out, pay the tax on it, and put it in a Roth conversion account. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter whether you're working or not, and it doesn't matter how much your income is. So, right now, the Biden administration saying, look, all we're going to do is if you make over $400,000, we're going to tax you a lot higher. That's going to be the first chopping block, if you will. Okay. But after that, where are we going from there? And even those of you who are making $400,000, take advantage of it this year. You're going to have taxes on sale. Huge opportunity. This is probably one of the biggest focuses of our practice as part of our Retire Fit analysis. This is a huge deal, and this is where we can be really impactful. So I really want you to pick up the phone and call us at 623-792-5496. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And what we do is we show you in dollars and cents how much you can save by doing some tax planning now. Mm-hmm. What's your future tax liability? Let's back into it. It's all part of the Retire Fit analysis. And again, these are crazy times. So you're thinking, geez, Phyllis, I'd love to take advantage of that, but I don't want to go in your office. Well, you don't have to. I've actually become pretty good at Zoom. Mm-hmm. So we can do a lot of things. We can pick up the phone and talk for 15 minutes and just, see if this is right for you. Or we can set up a Zoom call and do the same thing that we would do in office. So if you've got a potential tax bomb or you don't know what it's going to cost you in the future, this is the time now to pick up the phone and get the conversation started with us. No obligation, complimentary, 623-792-5496.
That number again, 623-792-5496. That's 623-792-5496. Phyllis, always good to just take a quick break here for a second as we talk about this, because I know you are so passionate about helping people understand this, because the reality is, a lot of times this doesn't get addressed when people are working on their plans for the future, right? I know there's always been this disconnect, or people have been told the wrong things when you look at what could be happening to them with taxes down the road, and that's part of why you get so fired up about this.
That's exactly right. There are hundreds, potentially tens of thousands of dollars that you could save if you understand your future tax liability and then set up a distribution strategy that supports that. tens of thousands of dollars, lots and lots of money, and even more now with taxes on sale. That's why I'd be just, yes. And it's funny, I know I rattle off that phone number and you got to slow it down. Thank goodness for you, Jen. I want to make another point this year. The estate tax. Right now, boy, it's over $11.4 million for the inheritance tax. Well, it wasn't too long ago when that inheritance tax was well below $1 million. And that's something the administration is talking about attacking. So this is a great year to take that into account as well and do some strategic planning around that. You have no time to waste. As Jen, as you said it before so eloquently, this is truly a limited window of opportunity to take advantage of this. We want to help you.
Mm-hmm. It's time to sound the alarm that higher taxes are probably coming, and time could be running out for you to do something about it. Most people don't realize we are in a low tax rate environment, but these taxes aren't going to remain on sale forever. They're likely to go up soon. But even at their current low rates, taxes could swipe away at your savings, leaving you with a fraction of the money you were counting on for retirement.
Please don't assume that you won't be impacted by President Biden's proposed tax increases because maybe you don't think you're wealthy enough. I bet just about everyone, that includes you, has a few areas where you can become more tax efficient with your retirement money. That's why if you're listening to the show today, I want to help you. I want to help you understand the potential impact taxes could have on your retirement savings. I want to help you learn about ways to reduce or possibly eliminate taxes in retirement. And I want to help you create an income strategy so your retirement income lasts as long as you need it to. So if you're listening to the show today, this is for you. Whether you have $500,000 to several million, or maybe not quite as much saved, we can help you go over your retirement accounts and uncover what your possible tax liabilities are in the future. And we could talk about some of the strategies that can help you reduce your taxes down the road. It could mean tens of thousands of dollars back in your pocket to spend it the way you want to spend it in retirement. Remember, there's no cost, there's no obligation, but this means you have to pick up the phone now and call us today. And that number is 623-792-5496.
There's just a short window of opportunity to take action to keep taxes from taking too much of a bite out of your savings. It could mean tens of thousands of dollars back in your pocket. 623-792-5496. This is Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. We'll be back.
When it comes to your health, it's clear. You consult your doctor. So why not consult a professional when it comes to money? Just like your doctor, the advice you get from a financial advisor can have a direct impact on your quality of life. Are you paying too much in fees with your current financial professional? What could happen to your nest egg if there's a market correction? If you're unsure, it may be time for a second opinion. Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus is an independent advisor. She doesn't have a boss on Wall Street. Phillis and her team at PSP & Associates specialize in designing retirement strategies that can allow you to spend more time enjoying life and less time being concerned about your finances. Get your second opinion. 623-792-5496. Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus and PSP & Associates can help make sure your golden years are just that. Golden. 623-792-5496. That's 623-792-5496. Investment advisory services are offered through PSP Financial Services, LLC, an Arizona registered investment advisor. Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus is also a licensed insurance agent in the state of Arizona.
Thanks for joining us today on Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. I am Jen Rezac, happy to be here alongside Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. Again, she is founder and president of PSP & Associates, author of the book creating calm amidst the storm. And what we want to talk about here in this part of the show is behavioral finance. Financial experts say there are behavioral factors that could influence our financial decisions. So Phyllis, let me just translate that for everybody really quick. Sometimes we're weird when it comes to our money, right?
We sure are.
Right? We're irrational. We make decisions we later regret. So we want to talk about how our behavior can have an impact on our money over time and what we can do to stop acting so weird when it comes to our money. I mean, how often do you see this? People's emotions getting in the way of smart decision making.
Yeah, I see it quite often.
Yeah.
And I understand it, but I see it quite often where, how they grew up influences how they think about money. How they struggled to make the money influences how they feel about it. I mean, there's just so many factors. It's very, 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 very common.
Right. And you have a phrase that I think fits in very well here when we talk about the fact that our emotions get in the way of smart decision making. We are driven by emotions and we don't want that. We need to be driven making decisions based on fact and logic. And to do that, you say, Phyllis, that we have to get financially naked. And that is uncomfortable, but talk about what that means.
Yeah, So I always also say this, building a plan for this stage of life is so different than what you've done before. Okay, during the first phase, while you're working, you grow that money that you're able to save. And it's all about the growth. At this phase, you don't get a do-over once you're close to retirement or you're in retirement. So on the front end, we really have to understand what's important to you about your money, what you want your money to do, what you need it to do, how comfortable you are with it, all of that stuff. We need to flush it out so that we can build your plan, not your neighbor's plan, your plan. And getting financially naked emotionally and laying it all out makes sense. Keeping, I got 300,000 that I won't tell her about because I want to put all the eggs in one, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, only presents one piece of the puzzle. So lay it all out there. It doesn't mean, oftentimes I'll have people come on in and they've been managing some of their money. And that's okay. As we build a plan, if I understand all their money and there's a piece they want to continue to manage or two pieces, we work with that in the plan. But you can't build a sensible plan unless we've got the emotional baggage on the table, so to speak, as well as all the details. Really, really, really important to get financially naked.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things that we get uncomfortable with and we want to put it off the same way we do about a lot of times going to the doctor. I don't want to deal with having to put on that terrible gown and all
naked.
I don't want to I don't want to have to get on the scale and have someone else looking over my shoulder and writing it all down. It's not comfortable, but it's important. If I want to be healthy, I have to make sure that I go and I do this every year. And so it's kind of similar to that idea of being physically healthy. There are some parallels there, right?
Absolutely. And that also brings to mind, I don't know about you, but yeah, I really struggle with doing that.
Yeah.
So I've got to really like the doctor and the team and feel like they really care about me and I'm not just another number or it's just rote.
Right.
That they're going to listen to me, that they're going to, try to figure out what's going on. And the same thing, I would say right up there on all the list of things that you need to consider that when you're looking for someone to help you with this stage of life, do you connect? Do you feel like that person, that advisor, that strategist is listening to you and cares about you? I'll just give you an example. And, this is what keeps me so inspired and passionate about what I do. I do it because I do care. You all know, I've talked to you about my story. I just found out when my dad passed away suddenly at 59 that there was a real disconnect in the type of advice that my mother needed and what she got. And I've made this my passion. Anyway, I'm sitting across the table. It's a second meeting with these these folks. And wow, as we're talking about their money, really diving into it even more than we had on the first, wife got really, really, really emotional about it. She did. Wow. She started to cry and she looked at me. She goes, "I'm sorry. I apologize." I said, "No need to." She goes, "You know what? I really feel like this was okay to do with you. I just have that sense." And that's really important. Okay. Right. We're all going to be emotional. Let's do it on the front end, but do it with someone you know that it's not going to get lost. So that was so important to her that we have to build a plan around that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the emotional part of it. That's why I want people to get emotional, financially naked, and you can't do that unless you have a sense of connection.
Right. Otherwise, you just stay closed off. You're not sharing. And if you're not sharing, then you're not getting answers. You're not getting solutions. And I mean, that's what you're here for, is helping us.
That's exactly right. And it's not just about the logical, how much money you can make, or it's about what you need the money to do and when to build the appropriate plan for you. It really is. And that's, gosh, I put my heart and soul into it. That's what we're all about, helping to listen to your story, pull it out, understand what's important to you in your life, then really taking a look at all of the pieces of your financial situation, analyzing those and seeing where you are in relationship to that. But it all starts with having a connection, understanding what's important to you so we can take the emotions out of it and build a plan around that. And that, our Retire Fit analysis takes you through all of those steps. What do you want your money to do? Why do you want it to do that? And what's your money doing in relationship to that? So I really, really, hope that you pick up the phone. I urge you to pick up the phone and call us for that Retire Fit analysis to make sure you're on track. You're separating the emotions. You're laying them out there, but separating them when you build your plan. So to get started with our no obligation, complimentary Retire Fit analysis, you need to have saved at least $250,000 or more for retirement, so that we can put things in the right places and build that plan. Mm-hmm. And you need to pick up the phone and call us right away so we can get you in on our busy calendar, 623-792-5496.
That number one more time is 623-792-5496 to get started on the Retire Fit analysis. It's all about helping you be financially fit. Just like it's important to be physically fit, you also need to be financially fit. And it's hard because we make a lot of emotional decisions, even with our physical health as well, Phyllis. I sometimes have a hard time eating things or not eating things. I know tortilla chips, don't need to eat those all the time, but man, I really like them. Do you
ever find that you eat for emotional reasons? Yeah, you just eat stuff that you normally wouldn't until you figure out the emotion and you lay it out and you sort it out. You find yourself doing it and doing it and doing it. Mm-hmm. I've been in that cycle.
Right.
Yikes.
And it's even one of those things too where I don't even enjoy it because I know I'm eating this thing for the wrong reason. It's like I didn't even really want it all that bad. It was just what I did. And it's one thing to do that every now and then with what we're eating. And then, I can make myself right again. I can balance that out. But it's time to sound the alarm that higher taxes are probably coming. And time could be running out for you to do something about it. Most people don't realize we are in a low tax rate environment, but these taxes aren't going to remain on sale forever. They're likely to go up soon. But even at their current low rates, taxes could swipe away at your savings, leaving you with a fraction of the money you were counting on for retirement.
Please don't assume that you won't be impacted by President Biden's proposed tax increases because maybe you don't think you're wealthy enough. I bet just about everyone, that includes you, has a few areas where you can become more tax efficient with your retirement money. That's why If you're listening to the show today, I want to help you. I want to help you understand the potential impact taxes could have on your retirement savings. I want to help you learn about ways to reduce or possibly eliminate taxes in retirement. And I want to help you create an income strategy so your retirement income lasts as long as you need it to. So if you're listening to the show today, this is for you. Whether you have $500,000 to several million, or maybe not quite as much saved, we can help you go over your retirement accounts and uncover what your possible tax liabilities are in the future. And we could talk about some of the strategies that could help you reduce your taxes down the road. It could mean tens of thousands of dollars back in your pocket to spend it the way you want to spend it in retirement. Remember, there's no cost, there's no obligation, but this means you have to pick up the phone now and call us today. And that number is 623-792-5496.
There's just a short window of opportunity to take action to keep taxes from taking too much of a bite out of your savings. It could mean tens of thousands of dollars back in your pocket. 623-792-5496. Retire Financially Fit with Phillis continues in just a moment. Stay with us. Thanks for joining us today on Retire Financially Fit with Phillis. I am Jen Rezac, happy to be here with Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. She is author of the book Creating Calm Amidst the Storm, and today she is helping us recognize some of our behaviors and emotional tendencies that can have an impact on our financial decisions. And we want to stop doing this, quite honestly. We need to, just like we don't want to eat our emotions, we don't want to necessarily spend our emotions or make decisions based on emotions either. So Phyllis, let's talk about some of because behavioral science, it's a thing now. It's something that's been studied, and there are some different behaviors that have been identified. So let's talk about some of those. What are some of the behaviors that we can fall into, some of those behavioral traps?
So here's the thing. You want to think, do I fall into this? Is this me?
Right.
So confirmation bias, that's where you look for what somebody else has done, or something you read about that says, well, they did it, so I'll do it.
Right.
Or, and that's just not your situation. You have your own financial DNA. You want to be aware that you need to see if it's appropriate for you. Right. Somebody claims Social Security at 62. Well, they did it. Well, that may be appropriate for them.
Right.
But it's a big mistake if you just do it because they did it.
Right. And how this can play out, I mean, since you mentioned Social Security, if you believe that it is better to take Social Security early, and you were to Google, why is it better to take Social Security early? You're going to find articles that support that, versus when should I take Social Security? Or, it's just this tendency that we have to find evidence, to seek evidence that supports what we already believe. So we're backing ourselves up whether or not it's actually right for us. So talk about in an instance like Social Security, if we have an idea of what we want to do and we're only finding out information that backs us up, how could that potentially be a problem?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Social Security is going to go away soon, so I got to take it now.
Right.
Well, I mean, that could cause you, if you take it too early in certain circumstances, that could cause you to run out of money later on in life. So you can have that idea, you could lean with that, but now let the numbers, your numbers, tell the story. Okay, so let's flush that out. Let's understand what you're thinking and all the supporting documentation around it. And then let's look at your personal circumstances, everything, not just that in a vacuum, and see if it makes sense, because it could take away hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the reverse is true too.
Right. Right. What about as we continue looking at some of these biases, the ways that we act? Availability bias is another one that I've read a little bit about, and I think this one can trip us up as well. Can you explain what that one is?
Yeah, so that's when you just take a shortcut on your judgment about the likelihood that something's going to occur. Because, let's think about Bitcoin, for example. You could either say, oh, there's been other fads and that's ridiculous, or Bitcoin is here to stay, and you can just look for evidence that way, or one plane crashes, every plane's going to crash.
Yes. Right, because it's a very newsworthy thing when something like that happens. So you think about, a plane crash or something like that. It's big. You hear about it when it happens. So then you think it's going to happen far more often than it actually will. And we can kind of go there with the money as well. You think about a market crash or this stock going crazy. Think about GameStop or whatever. Oh, I find all these articles, so this is what is going to happen. But that shouldn't be guiding us, right?
That's exactly right. Exactly. Again, you have your own financial DNA. What do you need your money to do? And what could happen, what might happen, really might not have any impact. I mean, shouldn't have an impact on the plan that you build. It really shouldn't.
Right. And I want to do one more here as well. Overconfidence is another behavior. A lot of people think their personal odds of success are far greater than what is actually likely. I was reading some stats about, Phyllis, small business owners, for example, the people who believed they would be successful versus what the actual numbers were, how long small businesses, how many of them actually shut their doors within the first year versus how successful people think they're going to be. We need to be realistic about our actual ability to be successful when it comes to things like investing and making these financial decisions, right?
Oh yeah, you have to have real numbers to support. So let me just give you a perfect example. Okay. The market's been doing really well for the most part over these past 10 years. Phenomenal. So now all of a sudden everybody thinks, well, I'm just going to do great. It's always going to do great. I'm doing it. And then sometimes, even if they have a great rate of return, when we look at their whole plan, not to be Debbie Downer, how much are they going to actually keep after they're done paying taxes? It's not even realistic. And is it possible? I mean, is the market just going to go up because you're that smart, or is it going up because that's just a trend that could end? Right. So yeah, that's a really scary one, to be overconfident. Now, it's great to have confidence and to have skill and to work hard. I don't ever undermine that, but you got to have some facts that back up the legitimacy of that confidence.
Right. And, we don't want to be overconfident, but we do want to be confident.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about how your Retire Fit analysis can help give us some of that confidence, but temper it so we're not overconfident.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Again, what do we need the money to do? Your money, your life, what would you like your retirement to look like? And what's your money doing in relationship to that? Are there gaps? If there are gaps, how can we set it up so that no matter what life throws your way, you can see with real fact that you're going to navigate through that situation? So in other words, if the market crashes tomorrow, you're still going to have your income. You see it, it's factual, because that's the way you've set it up. You've got the facts in front of you. That's what a Retire Fit analysis will do. It'll identify what you need your money to do, what the money's doing, and if there are any gaps in what you need it to do and what it's doing. And then we'll go through the Retire Fit process that will help you build a plan that will put things in motion so it will do what you need it to do.
To get started on that, let me just throw out the phone number really quickly. If you'd like to get going with the Retire Fit analysis, 623-792-5496 is that number. That's 623-792-5496. And Phyllis, there's one more behavior that I think it's important for us to talk about. I have kids. I am very familiar with the fear of missing out. Everybody always thinks they are missing out on something, what somebody else got to do in their class and what one of their friends got to do. And we think that's a thing that just kids do, but we're like this too. We don't want to miss out on the good things that others are experiencing, the big gains that they're bragging about, or the new homes that they're posting pictures of, or the nice vacations that they've posted pictures of on Facebook, all these things. But what happens to us, Phyllis, if we are driven by that fear of missing out?
Or all the gains that the market has, is giving people. Right. This is why people oftentimes jump in too late. They jump in just as the market's going to crash. So again, let's identify what you need your money to do, and let's build a plan that supports that. And when we put the logic, when we show you your numbers, it helps take that away. Okay, it helps takes that, inevitable greed. We all want the best.
Right.
But when we can see the downside of that, what will happen if we have too much at risk, and the actual ramifications of that, it helps put things into perspective. So the fear of missing out is dangerous if you do it blindly. So again, our whole process just really lays out what's happening to your money, with your money as you have it set up right now, and what would happen if you have too much at risk, too little at risk. It puts some real fact into it.
Only 4% of Americans are taking Social Security at the optimal time, and that means most of us are taking our benefits at the wrong time, and we are losing out on tens of thousands of dollars over a lifetime.
The average household could be missing out on about $110,000 in unclaimed Social Security benefits, and that's because of people taking their benefits at the wrong time. Unfortunately, not many financial advisors are willing to talk about this. I don't know about you, but to me, $100,000 is a significant amount of money, and I wouldn't want to accidentally miss out on a benefit like that. There are a lot of variables that you need to consider before you start taking Social Security. So I am offering a free Social Security analysis to help you sort through all the different options for how to claim your benefits. I want to help you learn about the potential impact your decisions can have on your taxes, on your Medicare, on spousal benefits, and even more. And I want to help you pinpoint the precise time to start taking your Social Security to make sure you are not missing out on tens of thousands of dollars in benefits. The Social Security Administration can't help you with any of this. They can help you with the facts about your Social Security, but they can't teach you how to make the most out of your benefit. That's what our Social Security analysis can do for you when you call us at 623-792-5496. Remember, Social Security is one of the most important financial decisions that you'll ever make. So if you've saved at least $250,000 or more and you've not started taking your benefits yet, call me right away so you can get this Social Security analysis at 623-792-5496.
You heard that right. You could be missing out on tens of thousands of dollars in lifetime income, or you could be living your best case scenario. It's just a matter of claiming your Social Security at the right time. So call now for that free Social Security analysis at 623-792-5496.
When it comes to your health, it's clear. You consult your doctor. So why not consult a professional when it comes to money? Just like your doctor, the advice you get from a financial advisor can have a direct impact on your quality of life. Are you paying too much in fees with your current financial professional? What could happen to your nest egg if there's a market correction? If you're unsure, it may be time for a second opinion. Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus is an independent advisor. She doesn't have a boss on Wall Street. Phillis and her team at PSP and Associates specialize in designing retirement strategies that can allow you to spend more time enjoying life and less time being concerned about your finances. Get your second opinion. 623-792-5496. Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus and PSP and Associates can help make sure your golden years are just that. Golden. 623-792-5496. That's 623-792-5496. Investment advisory services are offered through PSP Financial Services, LLC, an Arizona registered investment advisor. Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus is also a licensed insurance agent in the state of Arizona.
Is your retirement plan ready for the long haul? Get a second opinion today from Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. Just call 623-792-5496. That's 623-792-5496.
Thanks for joining us today on Retire Financially Fit with Phillis. I am Jen Rezac, happy to be here alongside Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates, and she knows just as well as I do that there are certain things you know you're not supposed to bring up in mixed company at a dinner party. There are a few things that are just too uncomfortable to even want to talk about with your kids, your financial professional, even your spouse. Things, Phyllis, that you and I tell Jeff, you tell Harry, could you please not bring that up when we go over to so-and-so's house, right? Yep. We all have these things, but there are some very important topics to think about as you get close to retirement. We're just going to have to bite the bullet, and we're going to dig in. This is our top 5 list for the week, Phyllis. 5 most taboo topics in retirement. So, gonna get a little uncomfortable here, but we'll do the best we can. So here we go. Number 5 on the list this week, mental health in retirement. And this is a step away from the things that we normally talk about when we talk about being financially prepared for retirement. But Phyllis, tell me what you've seen with people struggling with this issue, with mental health in retirement, maybe a loss of identity or isolation after they leave their job.
I've seen a ton of it. And this is something that as we begin the process, this is when I hang out my shingle and I talk to people of, I'm part psychologist because that's a big adjustment. But what happens when all of a sudden they retire? The thing is, if we can really have a conversation about that taboo ahead of time and you start thinking about it, it makes it easier. I'll give you a perfect example. Gosh, lovely couple. And the husband actually retired 4 different times since I've known him.
Wow.
Retired, went back to work, retired. And every time he claimed that it was, I don't have enough. We want to do all these things. I don't have enough. And really, we eventually had to have the honest conversation is that he hadn't thought through what he was going to do in retirement and he had enough. But he didn't have a plan, and he just felt like he didn't know who he was anymore. And once he faced that and he realized it, gosh, he finally told me he had no idea how he ever worked, and he's loving retirement.
Wow.
So it's a big decision. You got to think it through first. And I will tell you, that even if you do have that plan, my experience teaches me this. The first 6 months are awkward. Own it and just pace yourself through it.
Just one of those things that we don't always think about, that aspect of it when it comes to retirement, and we don't really like to talk about it because it's fun to look forward to retirement. We don't want to think about the challenges that go along with it. And when we talk about some of those challenges and some of the things that can change, Phyllis, when you get to retirement, number 4 on our list of taboo topics, because we start with 5, we work our way down. This is 4 now. Divorce. Over the past 30 years, the divorce rate after age 50 has doubled in the U.S., and it's tough. Nobody likes to talk about this, but what are some of the challenges for a couple divorcing as they get close to or in retirement? Because it's financially and emotionally devastating anytime, but when it comes to retirement, talk about how that's different.
Oh my goodness. First of all, that statistic, I know it to be true, but wow. Huh?
Yeah, I know.
Isn't
it's a
that
lot.
just crazy? Wow. It just is nuts. But yeah, that really can take somebody's life and dreams about retirement and turn it upside down financially, starting over. So this is something, if it's a reality and this is the way it's going to be, you got to get your ducks in a row. And we, unfortunately, we help people navigate through this financially because it's just not an emotional decision. It is an emotional decision, but it's a much worse emotional decision if you haven't faced the reality of what it's going to do to you financially. So, geez, if this is something that you're thinking of going through, you've gone through it, it's not my first rodeo. Pick up the phone, call me at 623-792-5496. Let's get the facts together. Again, 623-792-5496. Let's go through the logistics, whether you're thinking about it, whether you've already done it, because it will turn your life upside down from a financial nature. Nobody wants to think about it, but it's important.
That's
it
right.
really is important.
Yeah, these are all tough things to think about, and but it's something that we have to face, and I do appreciate you putting that phone number out there. I'll give it one more time: 623-792-5496. Really something that if you are going through this, it's a good idea to have somebody help you get a better handle on the numbers, because that's always the message, Phyllis, that never changes for you. Things are going to be changing. There's going to be storms happening all around us. Sometimes it's storms in the world. Sometimes it's personal storms in our own lives. But when we can get a handle on what is concrete with those numbers, that can help us move forward. So just something I want to put out there. Going through our top 5 list this week, top 5 taboo topics in retirement. It's stuff we don't like to get into. It's stuff we don't like to talk about, but we have to do it. Number 3, as we work our way backwards, is religion. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but I do think it's interesting. Here's how it could come up. It might not make financial sense for someone to tithe, for example, but it's important for them to give something to their church. So that's one way where that can come up. Phyllis, I want to move on because we don't have a ton of time here. Number 2 on our list of taboo topics today, relationships. Retirement can have a huge impact on your relationship with your spouse, your kids, your grandkids. Again, something that's not super financial related, but how important is it for pre-retirees to think about things like setting boundaries when they're watching the grandkids, or how much time they'll be spending with their spouse? I mean, there might be some expectations that you're going to be, full-time babysitter in retirement when you're not working, and that might not be what you had in mind.
So it's eyes wide open. And I just want to real quickly go back to the whole religion and tithing.
Please.
That's part of it. If tithing's important to you, that's part of who you are and your identity. So we really, as we build a plan, we want to build that in. We want to know it on the the front side. And then maybe there's another concession that you make. Maybe there's something else that you do. But if we lay out the facts, it could be very clear whether it's a reality, whether you have to adjust the amount, or whether there's another concession you can make to keep it the reality the way that you want it. But that's who you are. And that, that shouldn't be denied, but it will be denied if you don't have a plan and you haven't laid it out. Now, as far as relationships, again, it's eyes wide open. That's why it's so important to paint the picture of what you want your retirement to look like. And if you're married with your spouse, have honest conversations. We do that in my office. Again, I'm hanging out that shingle because it's part art, it's part science.
Yeah.
It's really an emotional, you can't come up with what you want your retirement to look like financially until you've painted that real picture of what you want it to look like.
Right.
And that's a conversation that you want to have up front. I mean, I was just real simple. I was thinking about it in my own life with my grandson. Now, I have no plans for retirement. I love what I do, but Mondays, I work Sundays to get a lot done so that Mondays I could call into my office and I really don't go in and we're with our grandbaby. But I was thinking, what if I start taking a lot more trips and they're relying on me on that. We got to have a plan B in place,
right?
Because that's going to happen. So these are things that I want to be proactive with instead of reactive. And you want your family around you, but you want to have clear boundaries. Very, very, very important. You haven't worked your entire life to say one thing and then find out you want to do something else and it's not realistic or it causes hard feelings.
Yeah, and it's just important to talk about this stuff even when we don't really want to, because I have been surprised before about the ideas or the assumptions that my husband has, and I find out that they don't match up with my own, and it's the same thing is true with other family members. I mean, this is stuff that we do need to talk about. And here's the last one. Number 1 on our list of taboo topics from Forbes is money. And it's ironic because we have a whole show about this. We talk about it all the time. But for a lot of people, Phyllis, it can be hard to ask questions about money when it feels insensitive. You might think you're asking too many nosy questions, but talk a little bit about how important this is to get over it and go ahead and talk through some of this stuff.
Yeah, I always tell people, look, if you're going to build a good plan, you got to be comfortable with the person that you're working with and certainly your spouse, because you got to get financially naked.
Yeah.
We got to know it all. We got to know it all. And the only reason is so that you can get the best outcome. And it is not comfortable, but really you will not. When I explain to people that they've got to let their kids know what's going on, otherwise Uncle Sam's going to get too much of their hard-earned money that they want to go to their kids, they kind of get it. When we have the conversation up front that, you've got to lay it all out there so you can understand what the tax ramifications are, or how to best take care of your spouse. Your spouse has got to understand, they get it. So eyes wide open is what I would say about all these taboos, no matter how uncomfortable it is, so that you can really be proactive and not reactive in retirement. And the way to do that, that's what we do. That's how we start. Is the Retire Fit Analysis. And I want you to call me at 623-792-5496. It's all confidential. It's complimentary. It's no obligation, but it lays it all out there so that you can make well-informed decisions and weather any storm. 623-792-5496.
Talking today with Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. And the other thing to point out, Phyllis, as we wrap up this discussion of the taboos, there are no wrong answers when it comes to retirement planning. I mean, we take what we know, we plan from that, and then we make adjustments. And there's not going to be one concrete permanent plan that you put in place, because stuff's going to happen. Life's going to happen.
Life happens. Yeah.
And there are no wrong answers with how we deal with this, but we do have to deal with it. I guess the wrong answer is not dealing with it. So
That's exactly right.
I guess there is a wrong answer there.
Yeah, we lay it all out on the table, what we want it to look like, and we go back to the drawing board to see if it's even realistic. And once we find that we're on the right path, then we have to build a plan that's flexible and permanent enough to, as life unfolds, allow you to live your life on your best terms, independently and on your own terms.
That's right. And that number one more time, 623-792-5496 to reach Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus. You've been listening to Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. Thanks so much for joining us here today. We hope to talk to you again next week. We'll see you then. Investment advisory services are offered through PSP Financial Services, LLC, an Arizona registered investment advisor. PSP Financial Services is an independent financial services firm that helps people create retirement strategies using a variety of insurance and investment products. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to safety, security, or guaranteed lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investment products. Insurance and annuity product guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. PSP Financial Services, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. You should talk to a qualified professional before making any decisions about your personal situation. We are not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency. This radio show is a paid placement.